On top of this desk stand, we have the Razer Raptor 27-inch monitor. We've had it for almost 2 years. In this video, we're going to show you our setup process, talk about what we don't like and what we do like, and then show you how all the Razer stuff works together, like we're showing right here with Razer Access. All right, here it is, the Razer Raptor 27-inch gaming monitor, 144 Hertz IPS display, ultra thin bezels, forged aluminum stand, built-in cable management, and the ever impressive Chroma. So let's check them out. All right, let's cut this tape off. I ordered this from Amazon. This is not the brand new one that just came out in 2021. This box is brand new, of course, but this, I believe, came out in 2019, maybe. The newest one will have 165 Hertz, but 144 Hertz is pretty good. And this was on sale because they announced the new one. All right, so there is a lot to see in here. Nice padding. This big accessories box with a big book for the Razer Raptor 27. Also one of those things. There's their famous green cables. It's like a USB-C. Maybe that's Thunderbolt, I don't know. USB-C for sure. USB-A male to female. Even more green cables. HDMI, or DVI. This one's HDMI, obviously a 3-pronger. And a mostly green power cord. Pretty small brick, actually. 90 watts, DC power input, of course. I'm never gonna get that back in there correctly. It's crazy how big this is. I've had a lot of Razer products recently. I had the Razer Blade Pro 17, had the Razer Core X Chroma eGPU, and the Razer Chroma laptop stand. Very nice packaging. Now it's gonna be a pain to get rid of all this, but as far as the monitor is concerned, it's pretty nice.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, that's just all one big monitor in here. All right, so there's the monitor. It's not a great picture, I gotta say. I would think it'd look better than that. Oh, wait a second, there's stuff on here. It's a big boy.
That's a big boy.
Let me tell you that right now. Now, it appears to me they're anti-killing babies. I assume that line's supposed to go through there, but it kind of looks like he's taking a nap with it. I won't take a nap with this. This is not a good nap device. I don't want to get controversial here, but here at 5 after 12, we also are against killing babies. So Razer and I come together, make the world a better place. There she is in all her glory. Just a little snack in case you're hungry. Do eat. So yeah, that's a big boy. It's very nice and easy to tilt. It moves very easily. And it goes up and down, of course. Pretty low. I mean, I can barely get my hand under there. Yeah, I have a large hand. If you had a smaller hand, like my friend Tony,
Oh, no.
he'd probably get his whole arm under there. But me, big boy, big hand, barely fits there, right? But it goes up nice and smooth. I am super strong, but I think even a weaker person like Tony could get that up. It doesn't go all the way back, but it goes pretty far. That's a good angle to be able to work on things. All kind of suctions down there. Nice little profile action. You can see how it goes down. And then there's the lean. I'm just that rubbery kind of guy. It's heavy.
Woo, that's heavy.
So if you're not a big strong guy like me, you might need some help. My buddy Tony wants a Razer monitor, but he's not strong to pick one up. So there's a little caution paper here. This is weird. It's fabric on the back. It's cool looking. It's cool feeling. I don't know why you would ever need that, but it's there. There are the channels for running the various cables. It does appear like it runs completely back there. It says if you go all the way up, then, oh yeah, I'll go back. Okay, well if I just broke it. Okay, all right, well that is correct. See, when you're really strong like me, you gotta be careful that you don't break things. So you gotta be careful. So that cord there, the existing cords, I assume is going to control the Chroma. That's on the base here. Let's put this back down. That clear looking edge there is where the lights would be. While it is a big monitor, it won't take up a lot of desk space because the way this mount is angled, or stand is angled, it really comes out only about an inch in front of the monitor, which is pretty good. The desk we're going to use it on is only 24 inches deep. This desk is 30 inches deep, but the one that's going to be used at is only 24 inches deep, so that will help it conserve some desk space, since this is a larger monitor than that would already be there. All right, and so here, so there's a nice Razer logo on the back. And then of course, you have this note here that has an auto raise mechanism. It says, don't force it. Basically, you gotta be all the way up to go to the 90 degrees. And then it tells you where to put the cables. So that'll be its own little challenge. And then in case you didn't notice, here is the little Joy-Con to control it. Depress like a button and then moves like a little joystick. I call it a Joy-Con. And hopefully this peels off nice and smoothly. Doesn't feel like it's going to. Did it. All right, there we are. There's some back shots for you.
Back shot, back shot, back shot, back shot, right behind the backdrop.
That padded foot at the bottom kind of makes it like a little suction cup. Up here, of course, we have all the good Razer Chroma, of course, NVIDIA G-Sync, 27-inch IPS matte display, WQHD, 256 by 1440, 1 millisecond response time, or 1 million seconds. It's hard to tell. Well, if they went the totally opposite direction. 144 hertz refresh rate, HDR 400, adaptive sync, variable frame rate control. So it's a nice, big, gorgeous screen, or at least looks like it. You can see it's matte. You don't see my reflection, super great. And of course, the little Razer branding right there. All right, so let's clear off the other desk and then we'll get this set up probably about 2 months from now. And then, all right, see you in a second. So of course you can see this is the RGB. There's USB ports and a C and power slot. And somewhere here, there's a Kensington lock right there. At first, I tried to just fit it in there, but these pop off. Not necessarily super easy. There we go. So there's little clips in there like that. And then you just snap it back on. As cool as this looks on surface value, it's kind of a pain putting these in here. They don't really line up correctly. Kind of be at an angle for something, because like this one, I've left an extra spot for the audio jack. And you know, there's 2 USB-A ports. There's only 1 USB-A cable. It seems like you would have 2 USB-A cables. Because now if I want to have an extra cord in there, it's not going to match this setup. It's a little odd. All right, so here we are with the Dell XPS 9710 and the Razer Raptor monitor. So we're still getting it all set up, but before I got everything tucked away and put away, I just wanted to show something pretty neat. Now the Dell XPS 9710 only has 4 Thunderbolt 4 ports, 2 on each side. And that's all it has. That's a headphone jack and a Kensington lock. We're running the Dell XPS 9710 to the Dell W19 TBS dock. So that way you can get 130 watts of power, which is the max this one takes. And this dock, this USB goes to the Xbox controller, the Razer controller. This is Ethernet cable. This is the power for the dock itself. And this green cable is the only thing we have connected to the Razer Raptor monitor. As you can tell here, there's no HDMI. There's no display port hooked up. The only thing plugged up is this one USB-C port into the Thunderbolt port on the dock. I don't think it's Thunderbolt on the Razer, but as you can tell, the lights are working. We can change the effect. So I changed it to fire. Now it works. So it's controlling the lights. And if you can see up here, it recognizes both displays. So display 1 would be the internal monitor here, which is 3840 by 2400, 60 hertz. And display 2 is the Razer, is 8-bit color profile, 256 by 1440. So QHD 144 hertz, and it shows the 144 hertz refresh rate here. So that's pretty great. It's going to make setting it up a lot easier with this than we previously used with the display port and the USB port for that. So just having one cord from my laptop is pretty great for this. We're going to run some more tests and I'll show some things, but before I get everything tucked away, I just wanted to show it here. So, all right, so here we are. It is now September 3rd, 2023. I bought this monitor in June 25th, 2021. So this is one of my oldest Razer products, certainly one of the oldest ones still in use. Actually, still using the Razer laptop stand still. And we were using the Razer Core X Chroma for a while, but I bought this monitor for my son. Once I bought the Razer Core X Chroma, which I liked a lot, my son moved from primarily gaming on the Switch or Xbox or PlayStation to PC gaming. And that's when he really started harping on having a much better monitor. Not harping, but you know, kids ask for stuff. At the time, this was quite expensive and much more than I would normally spend on a product. But I don't know, I thought this was a very special gift for him. I wanted him to have something really nice. I wanted him to feel, you know, I was splurging by buying this, is what I'm trying to say. It has held up great. Those pieces that are missing there, I just snapped those off. I'll explain why in a minute, but these pieces right here, they're not broken. I just snapped them off on purpose to show some stuff. As far as a monitor, it works great. He loves it. He loves gaming on it. He has no complaints. I've offered him multiple other monitors. I've purchased myself multiple monitors. I had a 38-inch monitor, I had a 49-inch monitor, I had another 38-inch monitor. He loves this one. This is what he wants to keep. Now, he wouldn't mind a higher refresh rate. This one's 144, of course. It's really not worth it for us to buy the 165 one, but if Razer came out with like a 240, I would probably upgrade to that one. Personally, I wish Razer would come out with a widescreen, ultra wide version, like a 38, which is a 38 is an odd size, I guess, but if they came out with 34, I'd probably get that, even though I prefer a 38-inch monitor. I think this monitor is so cool looking, I would probably get it, but especially when you have the chroma lights all pointed out. This is the back of the monitor. It has this fabric design. It does collect dust, but you can dust it off and it's fine. But it's really kind of pointless, right? Because you never see it. I do like the attention to detail. It's very nice. And having this here is nice. And then the Razer logo here is nice, but there's really no point in the fabric back. It's just something to be different, I guess. I don't know. And at the time when I first bought it, and while I watch videos. I thought this was very cool. Now, I think this is a terrible solution right here. This is awful. We don't even use it anymore. We just have the wires hanging up the back because it's in the back. His computer's against the wall. You don't even see it. This is a terrible design. I hope they learn from that if they make another monitor. I don't think they are because they haven't made one in a while. But it is really nice to have the lights light up on the bottom. But this design is awful, right? Because assuming you have it cable managed nice and pretty, if you try to adjust it, like I have a standing desk, and sometimes when you go from sitting to standing, you need to be at a different height. Or if someone else uses the computer, my son is not the same size as me. If I sit at his desk, I need to adjust the monitor. When you do that, it doesn't work when these things are all tight. Same concept when you lean it back like this. So it goes all the way like this, so you can't adjust it, so you can plug things in. But that doesn't work in here, right? It's just the angle, like all the cables are a right angle, and it's a horrible design. I love this part, this flat metal piece that lights up down here. It's great. And it's a very sturdy stand. The monitor never wobbles or falls over, of course, or nothing. I mean, most monitors don't fall over, but it's very easy to go up and down, but not when you use their built-in cable management. That portion is horrible. All right, so those complaints out of the way. I don't have too many complaints about the monitor other than, just that. It's super annoying for that stand. And then, of course, if you were to VESA mount it, you lose this whole stand, so you get no RGB. So that's probably why they haven't come out with a new one, because it's kind of a weird design. The actual monitor itself is good. It works great. And again, the boy loves it. But personally, I just hate that stand. I like the lights, hate the stand. So here's a prime example. I was trying to plug it in just so you can see the lights before we get the whole setup in. These are loose, so there's room in here, but as soon as, if they were tight, it would not work, right? So you basically gotta leave them loose for it to even work. Now the cool part of this, it is plugged in through USB-C currently. So I do like that, that's an option that you power it through C. Well, let's click on the monitor, it shows up. Interesting, that's the image it shows when you marketed it. So I do like this. This is very nice that you can change the various settings, right? So you have default, FPS, MMO, racing, streaming, custom. And you can change the brightness and all that stuff through a digital display. It's very much nicer. You can do that all through the joystick as well, but it's obviously nicer to do it on the computer screen. You can change your color profile, of course, pretty basic stuff. And your display, you can tell it's set to USB-C. You can make it do picture-in-picture if you had multiple sources. You can turn on adaptive sync. This is plugged into my Dell XPS 9710 laptop, so that's just for my recording purposes here. You can set HDR enable, and you can turn on the refresh rate counter, so if you turn that on, there you go. So at Spotify, you can see there's a 144 up top. Of course, you can turn the adaptive sync on to match it with your monitor display. More importantly, let's go to lighting. If you're under glow, you can change the brightness. You can turn the lighting off when the display is turned off or when it's idle. It's just very nice. So currently it's set to wave. Let's turn it to breathing. I always like to change these to different colors. Let's do blue, and let's do purple. Let me turn the lights off so you get a real idea of how it looks. Now there will be the monitor, of course, glaring, so it's hard to get a full immersive view here, but you can see there's the light. It's breathing, it goes purple.
It's purple.
And it goes all around to the sides as well. It doesn't go to the back, but of course you don't need it in the back, right? So it's kind of like a U shape, the front and the two sides. That's fine. Obviously, I'm breathing. We have fire, which is the effect. My son uses this monitor. He uses the fire effect most of the time. It's usually his preferred setup. Of course, everyone has spectrum cycling. Just that's nothing. That's one of the most basic of RGB systems, but I often do use spectrum cycling when I have my Razer set up. I don't have this monitor, of course, but I do have a lot of Razer gear, and I have that set up in this mode very often. It's pretty cool because they all sync up together. And then Starlight, I think is pretty cool, especially if you change the color. So if you just use one color, it just kind of blinks like that. But if you change that to like a purple and a blue, then it looks pretty neat. All right, of course, you can change multiple colors. You can put a random color in here. So it just does, who knows what's gonna be. And green's not very random, and that's just blue. We'll turn that off, and we have these colors, right? So it's pretty nice. Static, right? You can just make it one color. Razer green is the default, but you can turn it to orange if you want, straight up blue. And then if you can turn it to wave, which is obviously a standard, right? Sounds pretty neat. And then of course, if you want to change it to audio meter, then it could just respond to music if you're playing that. Turn the color boost up and it will adjust with the music. That one seems more cool in theory than reality, right? I would almost rather just have it set to like Starlight or something. Maybe if you did like a crazy routine, you might be able to go along with the music, but not generally how I use it. Turn these lights back on. All right, this is just plugged into the USB-C from the laptop. That's how we do it. Oh, let me go ahead and I'm gonna do handheld mode so you can see there's the brightness contrast there. You can change your input source, and then there's the main menu. We have a lot of options. Game mode, custom adaptive sync, input source, brightness, contrast, color, picture-in-picture, OSD, other settings. I don't know if you can change the Chroma like this way or not. Oh, there is this USB. There's a personalized, so you can change the joystick a little bit. So there's a setting here, this USB-C setting, and this USB-A is sleep mode. Like some of these settings are a little wonky. I don't remember quite. One of them is very annoying because it does, yeah, so I have it set to USB 2. If you have it set to USB 3, it only gets 60 hertz. But if you set it to USB 2, you can do 144 hertz. And you have to have the USB plugged in for the lights to work and the chroma and all that stuff. And every once in a while it makes it think it's a monitor popping up, and that can be annoying. But I'll show you that if we can get it when we get the full setup. All right, that's it for now. One more thing before we show the monitor in action. I can't imagine Razer is gonna watch this video, but if they do, or if you just wanna know what I think they should give up the option, the idea of base mounting this thing. And they have this little cord already that's colored RGB. Get rid of all this and just move to a thicker base. Put all your ports in the back here. That'd be a lot easier. Just have this one wire going from the base and then just thicken up the bottom like the size of the Thunderbolt dock they have or something like that. And you can build a bigger dock in there and then make the value proposition a lot better. But you know, this current method of these things is awful and I'm not gonna use them. So we did get it to sort of work, but took a lot of like being careful to get it kind of situated. And then, you know, we are trying to make this pretty. We were, you know, cable managing. We have these baskets that we installed down here. So we're trying to make it pretty, but I still think they suck, but it is working better than it was previously. So I don't know, they still suck though. All right, so we did a little cable management. So we have our Dell XPS 9710 here. I have these little brackets that are mounted and they're holding these little zip pouches for wiring purposes. So we have the monitor, the Nommo speakers, the Basilisk mouse, the Nintendo Switch. The controller's not plugged in yet. And then of course a keyboard and Firefly mouse pad. And you know, thanks to this Husky desk and these brackets and my supreme cable management skills, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. The only cord I gotta worry about now is the power cable to the UPS, and then I can just basically move my entire workstation, battle station around. That's pretty good. All right, so this is just the Raptor here. We're setting up the controller, updating the controller. This is all the boys' setup. Like I said, he's the one using the monitor the most. In the past 2 years, I told the good people of YouTube, we don't have any complaints. Maybe a higher refresh rate, but not even the 165, like a 240, because that's what the newer stuff is. So will that be accurate?
Yes, that will be accurate.
Now, I'm gonna ask him some more questions. Now, ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind, he had an accident. There was an accident when he was younger.
Have you ever dropped a baby?
So keep that in mind as we get his responses. The boy says there are certain controls that are not available here that you have to use the physical button, such as motion blur reduction. And he says when you turn that on, it makes the screen dark.
It makes the screen substantially darker. I never figured out why, or I don't remember why. But the reason you would want to turn it on is that it gets it down to its lowest response time, which is good for gaming, which is what I use this for mostly.
Oh yeah. He agrees that the monitor, you know, as you move it, you always feel like you're gonna break a cable, especially those right angle ones. And they really don't go that deep and they're not that firm in the way they're seated in there, right? So it feels like you're gonna break them every time you adjust the monitor. This is a standing desk, but he doesn't really go up and down, not too much, but. All right, so here we are with the full setup. Now, in case you think this sounds familiar, I'm using this portion of the video on multiple different Razer product clips. I might tweak it from here to there on each one. But it's also a good idea to subscribe if you're watching this one. You know why? Because all these products I've had for a very long time. A lot of these things I've made videos. That HyperX, so on the far right corner there's a HyperX. I made a video on that very long time ago. Of course, in this video series, we have the Razer Raptor monitor, the Nommo Chroma speakers, the Basilisk Ultimate mouse, and the wireless charging dock for the mouse, the Firefly V2 mouse pad, and the Huntsman Elite controller. Over here that doesn't play nice with the colors is the Razer Wolverine V2 Chroma, and Pokémon Special Edition OLED switch dock, and of course our little bobblehead Snicky Snack. And down below, the desk itself is a Husky desk, which I made a video on a very long time ago. Well, here is the UPS that I made a video on. Here, I don't know if it's gonna show on camera, but this is all being powered off of my Dell XPS A950 that I made videos on previously. So the point of that is, I'm not one of these YouTube guys that just buys products to make videos on and gets rid of them. These are things I actually use and I've had for a very long time. A lot of this stuff is 2 years old or approaching the 2-year mark. So we're talking about in-depth use cases. You know, I'm not one of these guys that has a brand new laptop every week.
Hi, this is David at Mash IT.
So here you can see all the products together. This is what I was mentioning before. It's very nice to see them all together and it looks pretty cool. Like I said, the mouse dock doesn't play nice color-wise, and neither does the controller, but everything else is doing the wave, which is pretty cool. Let me show you that you can do a little bit of everything. So let's go lighting, and then we'll choose breathing. We'll do our colors again. Blue and red, and apply it to everything. Now everything should be blue and red, including the dock over there is breathing, right? So some of them, all of them can do, and some of them, all of them can't. And then fire, this is what the boy usually uses for his setup. Razer has that button, which a lot of people don't have. See, here's where it gets a little bit wonky, where some things don't have fire. Only the keyboard and the monitor are doing fire right now. Spectrum cycling, everyone should have that, so they should all link up nice and easy here. And then Starlight, I think they all have that as well, maybe? Or no, not all of them. For static, everyone should have static. I should be able to go all green for everyone, no problem. And then the wave, of course, we were already doing, but you can see here. So what I'm gonna do now is turn the lights off so you get a better idea and show you some cool features, and hopefully no one gets scared. All right, so there you can see how cool everything looks. So let's go to Razer Studio, and here's where I said you can make an edit. So you click on everything. Now you can change this to fire. Now everything is fire. If I hit save, everything should be fire. See, now previously all of them didn't have fire, but now they're all doing fire, which is pretty cool.
I like that.
If I hit here and check everything, and I change this to breathing, and then again I change the color, I'll do red, and we'll change the second color to green. I'll save it. Now everything will be red, green. So you can see how cool this looks. Even the dock, like I said, the dock was limited on its features, but it works. Same thing here, right? Make sure every time you hit everything, and then we change this to reactive, and then we save it. So now it's reactive. So the reactive is not very cool for everything. So don't use reactive for everything unless you want really basic stuff. Ripple's what I was thinking of. Yeah, ripple is gonna be cool. That single light there on the keyboard currently is the numbers lock. So there you go. So now that is cool, right? So it goes through everything. It's not quite lined up because we haven't organized everything. But if you notice on here, you can move these things around. If you rearranged everything in Synapse, you can make it pretty cool. You see how it's going through on Synapse there. All right, and that's the ripple effect. And then of course we go spectrum cycling. So you can do that without the studio version, but it is nice to have everything lined up correctly, including the mouse. Starlight, I think is really cool. So that's showing a bunch of different colors. You can edit that, of course, like I showed you previously, to change the different color variants, but this predefined one is very cool. I like it. It's a nice, relaxing way to have your system set up. Like if you're not really too involved, you can have this just playing in the background. It's nice in a dark room. It's kind of cool looking. Static is nothing, you know, obviously we know how everything can do static. You can change the color, but again, static is pretty boring. Wave. So this is another one where if you rearrange these things on the desk, like for example, here's the monitor. There you go. I can move monitor here, move the keyboard here, speaker here, speaker here, mouse here. Now the wave is a little more aligned. I don't know if you can tell that, but it is nice how that works. And then let's do the wheel effect. Wheel, and save that. So you can sort of tell, but the wheel's not as impactful. I prefer wave over wheel. But here's where I think ripple is gonna be cool. And if I hit this button, that's pretty good, right? Yes, I like that. Like I said, the boy uses fire the most. And of course, like I said, if you use the music, you can get the audio responses, but I don't want to set it up right now. It's nighttime, people sleeping. So yeah, fire is pretty cool with all these setup as well. Let's get the lights back on. All right, so there it is, the setup for all these devices together. We do like each of these individual devices, but with Razer, it's pretty nice when you can get everything all together on one. All right, so here we are gonna play some Fortnite on the Razer Raptor monitor. This is being powered from a Dell XPS 8950, which has a 12th gen i9 and a 3090. We are using, of course, the Razer Wolverine controller right here, in case you didn't believe me. Yeah, so you can see we're getting 100, I mean, it's still in the lobby, but it's 141 FPS. We are plugged in through Ethernet. I do have gigabit Ethernet here, but this monitor, this is one of the good things about having the 27-inch monitor is that he's able to, Fortnite's a little different. It has some beefy settings, but most games you can kind of max the settings out with a 3090, whereas I have a 38-inch monitor and I have a 3080 Ti, but I can't get as high settings because of that larger monitor. Whereas his 27-inch monitor certainly gets full max settings on most things you're playing. Our lights are gonna be a little wonky here, and I don't know why he has a setting on his. You can get all these lights to sync up with Fortnite. Mine does on my computer with all my Razer settings. He has something jacked up in his Synapse. that doesn't jump to games. And this, of course, is using the Razer Nommo speakers. Now it is, midnight, almost midnight here, so the volume is not jacked up, of course, or not cranked up loud. This is the boy's Fortnite account. This is the one that we've been putting skins on for years. And now every time he kills someone, he hands the controller to me to kill because he's not very good at the game. But he does on the building, and I'll take over the controller when it comes time to fight someone. I've actually come to really like Fortnite lately. All right, so yeah, excellent monitor. My boy's a big fan. I like it too. Now, one more thing about the monitor, of course, we switched to HDMI input, so we do have the switch they're playing. I don't know if it's the monitor or the speakers, but the Razer speakers are powered through USB, and when we plug those into the monitor via USB, they will work on a PC, but when we switch, PC is going through DisplayPort to the monitor, and then the speakers are plugged into the monitor via USB, and they work just fine. And we have the HDMI going to the switch, and we change the input from DisplayPort to HDMI, and the switch shows up, and it's beautiful. It looks great on here, but the audio does not come out via USB to the speakers. And again, it could be the Razer speakers or it could be the Razer monitor. I don't know. I haven't found a setting to fix it. There is an audio jack, I believe, on the monitor, so maybe you could plug that into something. I don't know. And there's an audio jack on the speakers too, so maybe you could do that as well. I don't know. We haven't tried that. In the meantime, what he's been doing is just moving the USB port for the speakers to the switch directly. But it could be the switch too. The switch is weird, but the switch does look great on this system. So I just figured out, I don't know why, we've had this for 2 years, we just now figured out. There is an aux cord port in the back of the Razer monitor. And when doing that, we took the Razer aux cord, 3.5mm jack, plugged that into the Razer monitor, and then on the Nommo Chroma speakers, there's an aux in. And when doing that, the audio for the switch works fine. So essentially, you still have the USB plugged in to your computer for the Nommo speakers, and then when you're on your PC, you can play Spotify and the music comes from the USB without having to replug anything. As long as the aux is already plugged in, you can just switch inputs to HDMI, and then the audio works from here. There we go. So you can see that audio. So that's very nice. We were previously just moving the USB every time, which is annoying. So now this is a really nice setup. I gotta redo some cable management, of course, but I'm glad I figured that out for both the monitor and the Nommo speakers. So it's pretty cool, and we have our setup here, which is nice, so we like it. We don't normally have the monitor like this. We just moved that to plug it in. And again, all my complaints about the wiring, I don't know. Lately it's been fine, so maybe it was overblown. I mean, still kind of annoying, but it has been working fine. Like, we just moved it to plug this in and it's fine. So anyhow, I do like the monitor.